and welcome to part 3. I thought I'd give you a little look at the other entrance to the plot today. So I've come in the back way. It is the quickest way from my home, but it's also the scariest way, as you can see. Jump scared by the cat, never fun. So welcome to part 3, and today I will get everything finished. The first thing on the list for today is, so I brought my notepad with me because I will forget otherwise. So I was up quite late last night organising myself. This is actually a daily planner food diary, but I've changed it up a little bit. So my top priorities for today: composting, pumpkins and harvesting. My to-do list for today is trim the pumpkins, take off anything that isn't going to ripen before the first frost. The compost bin, there is a little bit in it that's really stuck on the ground, so I'm going to have to take off the whole front of the compost bin to scoop that out onto a shovel and pop it in the onion bed. So I'm hoping with a bit of sunshine this morning I will get onto that after I've done the other jobs. It was going to be my first job, but it was very moist last night and only 8 degrees, so I need to make sure that that's dried out a little bit before I get in there, or I'm going to be absolutely covered. And of course, my favourite thing of the day will be harvesting. I've got lots of courgettes. I'm not going to allow them to get too big or stolen. And I'm going to check each pumpkin to see if the vine and the stalk has gone brown. If so, I will be harvesting them. And I know I've got some peas early, and ones that have created peas ready to harvest as well. And taking a look at the sunflower, you can't really see from here, but that one there, the head is completely upside down, so I'm going to take that off, take that home to dry that in the greenhouse, because I'm worried it's going to snap or fall off, and I do want to use the stalks next year. So let's get dirty and crack on. So I have the essentials for working on a pumpkin patch or a courgette patch. My snips, my gloves because they are spiky and they end up being splinters in your fingers, and some wipes. So if I take off any leaves with mildew, I will wipe the snips straight away before I move on to any other leaves, but I do tend to leave those ones till last. So for now I'm taking the length off, and I am taking any pumpkins off that may need harvesting. So this is the end of the pumpkin patch. Everything that was planted was on that side, so that is the side I am going to do last. Okay, so we have our first one. Okay, so we just need to separate them because they do climb on each other. Okay, so I have a small pumpkin here that is never going to get to the stage I need it to, so I am going to cut it back. So that is that one, and I'm going to put a nice pile just down there. Again, I have 2 small pumpkins on this one, and then a bigger one further back. So I'm going to go all the way back to where the bigger one is. Another one here growing. Wow. This one's absolutely ginormous. So it's come down here, round, and I still haven't found the end yet. Okay, so it's a really good sign that now I'm getting to the middle, I'm just starting to hear the bumblebees, which is fantastic, which means they're still pollinating in here. So this is my large pumpkin, and the stalk on it is still very much green, so that is not ready. So that is the stalk on it. As you can see, it's not ready, and the stem here is very, very green, so that has still got a lot more growing. I mean, it's just huge. I love it. And then inside there, I'm hoping to show you that one. This one's very crispy. Let's actually have a quick check of the courgettes while I'm here. So I've got one summer ball that must have been cross-pollinated, because that is not my summer ball plant. And this courgette plant here is done. There's nothing but male flower. Oh no, I do have one there. I do have a summer ball in there, so maybe I won't be cutting it up today. I had 7, so 1, 2, 3, 4. One has died off. 5. No, I know I had 7. Okay. I will check back on my footage again. Make a start here. All of the stuff on this side looks very healthy. Very healthy. Okay, so I can find an end here. Let's track it back. Yes, there are pumpkins on this one. Okay, start my next pile. So let's check the 2 pumpkins that are here. I'm not sure. I mean, that one's got a little bit of a yellow stalk. I think I'm just going to leave those 2 for now, because I am unsure. Although these leaves look like they're being eaten a little bit. I'll just cut off anything around it so the sun can get to them. They are just those 2 in there. Okay, so this is the second biggest pumpkin that I have. And this one's got quite a lot of yellowing on it. It hasn't had a lot of sun on it, so I'm hoping to free up some space, and I think that one's probably going to be okay. Fingers crossed. Okay, so I'm pretty happy at the moment with everything here. So that one doesn't look like it's going to make it, but I'm going to keep trying because the skin is very hard still. That one is opened up now, but I do think these beans are blocking a lot of sunlight, so I might just lay them down flat and let them dry off. And then I've got another one in here that's looking lovely. It's got a lovely green stalk on it, so I'm going to just take some leaves off around the top of that. Okay, so that's all around the edge done. And take a quick break, and then I am going to do the area where they actually are planted, just to see what's going on there. That's pretty amazing. Now obviously I don't want to touch them because this is the base of the plants and they are supplying the pumpkins over here. And I've got some more growth over here and a little pumpkin just behind there. And 2 original pumpkins, these were my first ones. They're quite moist, you know, they're not looking very good at all. I might have to have a little Google on that. And actually more growth here. Look how green that is. I mean, everything was dying back because we had no rain, and now we've got all this rain. Everything thinks it's time to grow again. I do need to check this one out because this one does look dead, so if I can take it out I will take it out, or at least cut it back to the root. I don't like to take big roots out because I don't like to disturb the soil. Okay, so let's move on to the next section. I have managed to get rid of all of this just from this corner and where the trees were, so you can see my trees again now. Okay, so now the pumpkin patch is completely done, I'm going to move on to the courgettes. They are really struggling to produce now. That little bit of rain and sun has done wonders. They have thrived and come back to life, but I'm only getting a couple of fruits on it now, probably every 10 days. Some of the leaves have got mildew, so I'm going to clear all of those leaves and then harvest. Okay, so this is the first courgette plant here. So I've actually got nothing on here. However, lots and lots of new leaves growing there with a tiny summer ball in there. However, it hasn't been pollinated yet. And then you've got here growing all the way along to a summer ball right there and another one just there, and there are male flowers around there and here for them to be pollinated, and just in there is another one in there. So I think definitely feed this bed today, and lots of little ones have come up and that one's growing nicely over here, and there's quite a bit of soil there, so I'm going to leave that one to grow there. However, I've got some plastic here, that's never good. So that is the Swiss chard that I planted in and around just for coverage from the beds, from that burning hot sun that we've had. And then on this side, this is the one I've just moved, we have more just in here. I've just noticed I have got a couple more leaves here with mildew, so I need to take them off. And then that one here, so these ones are slightly on the turn. When you get a bit closer, you can see all the new growth in there, and that's another courgette just around this side, which doesn't look like it's going to do very much, but I will leave it on there because even if in 48 hours it gets a little bit bigger, I can have that one. And again with a Swiss chard here. So this bed did not take up a lot of room at all. It kind of stayed quite well confined, if I'm honest. It hasn't really grown out of its area, which I thought it might. The pumpkins grew over to it, so they started here and they grew right over into this bed, so I did have to keep swishing them around that side. The amount of food that this bed has provided is huge. Pasta sauces, curry sauces, different types of soups, sweet dishes, cakes. It's provided a lot of produce for us at home to eat through the summer months, and I have 2 more there. And when I come down in 48 hours, I'm hoping the summer ball will be big enough to harvest, especially with a feed today. And that is the one I'm going to be taking seed from, in the hope that that one doesn't get stolen. Now I've opened the bed out a little bit so you can see what's going on there. So I'm hoping word has got around that I film everything so nothing gets taken. Okay, so the pumpkin patch has had a really good trim. Any dead ones have been taken off. Any that are going soft has been removed. Any really damaged leaves, any leaves that are looking like they have powdery mildew have come off. That's some of the broken ones, and there is actually a pathway now around mostly. So I'm leaving some of these on just to see what happens. A lot of the smaller ones will be the eating pumpkins. Another one just in there. And then this is the disaster that's so tangled. I struggled to see what was coming out of which direction. So you've got a big one there. It's got a lot of scratches on that one, but we can paint that one and use that one for decoration. And then same with that one. Lots of new growth coming on. And then we have the large one just here. This one's beautiful. This angle is just absolutely lovely. And then you've got some little ones that have started to come up there. I'm going to leave that one because that's the only one on that whole branch. Then a funny shaped one. And then you have the orange pumpkin, which as you can see is starting to change colour now. And then underneath you can really see it coming along now. A little baby one there. And if you have a look here, we have lots of new growth here as well. We've got a pumpkin here, a pumpkin there, one extremely damaged one just there. And then on the other side, we have the two original pumpkins that started this whole patch off. So let's do a quick count. So I'm only going to count them if they are bigger than my fist. So we've got 1, 2, 3. I need to step in for this one. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So that's a total of 17 pumpkins. I'm sure not all of them will survive, but we've got 10 very strong pumpkins, so I'm very, very happy with that. Most of them are white. We do have an orange one, but I've also got 3 orange ones at home that my daughter grew, and I've got a couple out the front of my garden which I think are also white. But the idea behind the white ones is you can paint them and decorate them a little bit better, so we will eat more than we will decorate. But I'm very happy with the pumpkin patch and how it is looking. Right, it's time to work on the brassica bed. So now the cage is done, she says, and then down the bottom it is just being held on there by a piece of wood, and then open it out, and then we can go in. So currently what we have going on in here are Brussels sprouts that have been growing for about 5 months now. They completely got stunted in all the dry weather we had. It didn't matter how much we watered them, they weren't going anywhere. Plus we had a massive problem with white fly, so I'm sure if I give them a little knockabout, you can see the white fly. No, nothing happening. Let's see if we've got any caterpillars. Yes, we have. Let's get rid of those horrible, horrible things. And check here, because this one looks like it's being eaten as well. Can't see one on there. Let's check this one. Caterpillars are not my favourite thing in the world, and it's not my favourite thing to check for them, but it has to be done. Oh, there's a weird looking spider there. And then let's check this one. I'm not expecting great things, however I don't like them, so I'm not overly fussed. But the beetroot that we planted, so we did 2 sowings, these ones here, and the original ones didn't come up very well. They are very wish-washy, so they actually need a feed today, and I've got to deal with this ground here. So this is a no dig plot, so I am going to be raking off any of the large twigs, filling any of the holes, and then adding compost to this area ready to put all the brassicas in. So I won't be using this area. I will probably put some kind of frame in there so you can step in, turn around, close the door without standing on any crops. And then I have a little space here, so anything that I have any extras of, will go in that little space there. And again, with the whole no dig, I try and keep the roots in as much as possible because I don't want any of the nutrition from them being lost in messing around with the soil too much. And my line that I've got here is not fantastic. It's very wonky. Okay, so let's start raking. Right. Lots of different bags of compost. We've used everything that we've got left on the plot. So anything that has been there for 2 or 3 months is all being used up now. We are going to purchase some more because we've got a few more things we want to do before the winter starts. So we will need more compost. So once it was all raked over, I thought I would let it settle for 48 hours as it was due to rain. So I thought I'd get it all moist that way rather than waste the water in the tank by watering it before I plant anything in there. I thought it was best to have a couple of days of rain on it. So when I come along next to the plot, I can put all the holes in the appropriate places, leaks around the outside. That way I haven't got to worry about any butterflies landing on the outside onto the leaves of the brassicas, laying eggs that way. And then I will do probably a patch of sweetheart, a patch of winter cabbage. I've got some pak choy which I'll put near the front. And I've also got a few more greens like kale that I will be putting a nice long line in there. And I will probably mulch a very small pathway going from one end to the other just to protect the beets until they've come up and they're more noticeable. So it started to get really windy now. So this sunflower is upside down, so it's not receiving any sun whatsoever to be able to dry out the head so I can harvest the seeds. So I am going to take it off. I am going to try and do it with the snips because I forgot to bring my knife. Let's see how we get on, and I will dry it at home in the greenhouse. Okay, so this is the head. As you can see, it's bigger than my head. I mean, side by side, it's huge, and I have a big head, so this is huge. So if we have a look closely, you can see lots of white there. So the sunflowers are nowhere near ready to be harvested. So I will pop this away to dry. I was hoping for them to dry on the actual stem itself. However, with the rain that's going to be here in the next few days and this terrible wind, let me hold the camera. My goodness. So yeah, so with the rain that we're going to be getting, this I think is probably going to snap the stem. And as you can see, it's a really good stem, and I will be taking this off as well and drying them out to use next year wherever I need to use it. Whatever I can find a reason to use it, that is what I will be doing. The rest are okay. I mean, they're starting to droop a little bit, just a tad there, but I'm not surprised because this one here is absolutely ginormous, and the one behind me is also upside down. So they've just got so heavy and it's taken them so long to flower that they're just dropping as soon as possible. So yeah, so here's a better look. So the sunflower seeds in there. But it's just such a pretty flower, and then in behind as well, so it's absolutely luscious. So once these seeds have dried, I will harvest them and I will dry them out again, and then I will season them. I will cook with some of them, keep the rest in a jar, have some in sachets ready for next year's sowing, and then with all the others I am going to do the same kind of process, dry them all out, pop them into seed envelopes and gift them. So my mum has come along today to help out with some of the jobs. I've currently banished her to the compost heap. And what she's doing is, we can't get anything else out of this compost heap, plus a lot of it hasn't broken down, so we're going to put it all into the middle, place cardboard all around the outside, and then move all of the stuff apart from any rubbish we popped in here into this one, and then get the compost that's hopefully underneath all of this for the beds, and then all of these bags here and everything I pulled up from the pumpkin patch today, which is this ginormous pile here, will all be cut down into small pieces and placed in there for next year's compost. And then we will pop lots of leaves, because they're starting to fall from the trees now, pop lots of leaves on top, give it a really good water, cardboard around the edge again, and that is how we will have our compost heaps. We have some good news. So this raised bed, we popped some turnips and some pak choi in here. Nothing was happening at all, and literally within 1 week all of this pak choi has come up, which is fantastic. And then I have this one here that's starting to come up, and this one's not doing very well. So this bed is dry. We've had lots of rain, but this bed is dry. So the plan is to give this a really good feed now with the one random spring onion. And this bed over here has got spring onions in it. These are doing very, very well. So these did come up nicely. These will have a feed as well. So that's next job. This bed had the corn on the cob in it, and as you can see, it's left quite a bit of damage in there, and there's quite a lot of mulch that hasn't started to break down yet. It's just too big. So I'm going to get my gloves on and I'm going to get all of that out and clear that bed so it's ready for compost, ready for the garlic. So that one's a lot tidier now. And what I did was, there was a lot of dead marigolds on here, so I just popped the seeds out. I put a layer in there, put a very thin amount of compost over it, and then we're just going to give it a water, because you never know, even if one comes up for next year, better than none. All the potatoes have been earthed up. It's probably as far as they can go now. So the rain is going to come down tonight, give them a really good water, and then as soon as they get a little bit bigger, I will mulch them, ready to keep the moisture in. And the cucumbers are still growing nice and plump, so I can harvest the seeds out, but next time I'm up they will be going.